years ago, BeamNG Drive looked like this. Now, 10 years later in 2023, the game looks like this. Yeah, we've come a long way. So if the game looked like this in 2013 and this in 2023, how could the game be like in 2033? That's what this video is about. So you're just cruising around in BeamNG Drive on the Italy map. And on the road you notice something weird. Why is there an Ibishu Widgeon there? I didn't spawn that. So you take a look around it and you realize the license plate says Time Machine on it. You are very confused, so you decide to hop into the car. You see a screen on the front of the car that says Time Travel. What's this? I'm going to put in a random year. Let's see if this works. Welcome to 2033. So you're now in BeamNG Drive 10 years in the future. What are some things you notice? Well, first of all, the obvious one, the graphics. If you look at BeamNG Drive 10 years ago compared to now, the graphics have gotten a huge upgrade. Imagine how it could be just a couple years from now. It could be way better than ever. In every single update, BeamNG Drive always improves on the graphics, which is just something I really love about the game. So, what kind of stuff in the graphics would I like to see in the game? Well, most players would like to see ray tracing and RTX. That would be a pretty cool idea into the game. It could make it so much more realistic. In addition to the cars looking more realistic, the maps will look way more realistic too. Like on this video I'm playing right now. Look how detailed the sand is and the grass. In BeamNG Drive maps, all of them will have them in the game. So, the first thing, BeamNG Drive's graphics will obviously have a huge improvement, and who knows how they could look like 10 years in the future. What's the next thing you had noticed? You go in first-person camera, and you notice the interiors look so realistic they look better than your car's interior in real life. So think this interior, but 1,000 times better. So you realize you could open anything in the car just by thinking about it. You could drive the car just by thinking about it, by simply just connecting a wire to your brain. You could play BeamNG Drive with your mind. And when I say you could open anything in the car, you could open anything, from the glove box to adjusting the steering wheel, to adjusting the seats, to shifting the car, the windshield wipers, anything you could think of in the car, even the sun blocker on the roof. You could control it, and your character will actually move it with their hand, because in BeamNG Drive, your character is invisible. You're probably saying, hey, a person in your interior, if you crash, it's going to turn the game to rated R. Well, they could make the person a crash dummy instead of a real person. There are already some mods that do let you put a crash dummy inside your vehicle. Another thing that you would notice is the missions. The missions in BeamNG Drive, you're not stuck to playing the same exact missions over and over again. You could AI generate new missions and scenarios in the game. And if you AI generate a scenario that you really like, you could share it on the Steam Workshop or on the mods page. So, if you want to AI generate a level or scenario, or even a story, you could just put in a prompt, like a sci-fi one, maybe one where you're a paramedic or a police officer. Anything you could think of, you could probably play it in the game if you put it in AI. That would be such a cool feature to have, because BeamNG Drive, whenever you're waiting for an update and the game's starting to feel maybe boring and you just want to play some missions after a long day, you could generate whatever you want, any fun and optimized missions for your playstyle. So, in BeamNG Drive 2033, the traffic AI is greatly improved. So what do I mean by this? Well, the traffic AI, they act exactly how they would in real life. So they basically act and feel like real drivers, making the world feel alive. So if you crash into them, they pull over and exchange insurance information. If you start a police chase, or if you have a police car turn on your sirens and start chasing them, they pull over and sometimes they could drive away. So something like that in the game could make it feel so alive. Who knows? Maybe you could expect to see something like that soon, because BeamNG Drive keeps getting greater and greater, and all the traffic AI keeps getting improved in the game. Something else is, sometimes you could see ambulances or fire departments driving by and actually respond to real things that happened in the game world. Speaking of the game world, in the game, you could actually go to airports and planes are taking off. Or, for example, racetracks, and there could actually be an event there. Something like that in the game would be so cool. Now, the AI technology isn't there yet, but who knows? Maybe in a couple years, we could see this implemented into the game. We could see AI drivers actually having schedules, like going to work, parking there, then driving home. Something like that would make the game world feel more alive and immersive. This next one is about updates on the game. So BeamNG Drive Studio, it has not that much people, but it's still a pretty big development team. And the people who work there are very talented and always frequently update the game, and they always add new stuff every around 3 months, which is very good for a game like BeamNG Drive. Now, who knows? Maybe one day that studio, the BeamNG Drive Studio, could grow to a lot of people so they could keep making more and more updates and keep making the game so much better. Because the more updates a game has, the more players come to the game, and they could just add so much stuff. Like, they don't even have to add cars. Like, they don't just have to add cars. Who knows? Maybe one day they could add planes, helicopters, boats. Because after all, BeamNG Drive is a vehicle simulation. They never said it just being cars. So that's what I expect could happen to BeamNG Drive in 2033. This next one is about the maps in the game. So if you were in BeamNG Drive 2033, you go to the map selector. Obviously, there's a lot of handcrafted maps, but you also see a button that says Add Map. So you click it, and you realize it's an AI map generator. So in addition to all these handcrafted maps by the developers, you could AI generate your own map by using a prompt. So anything you could think of, you can make it into BeamNG Drive. So this would be really cool, because after you, let's say, generate the map, you could also make tweaks to it to make it perfect. And if you really like the map, you could upload it to the repository section, and other people could download it and use the map. That would be so cool, because you're not just stuck to using all these maps. All these maps are good, but they do get repetitive after a while, so it would be really cool to have that thing in the game. When can we expect this to happen? Well, this isn't going to happen next update. AI in games is like a very early thing, and it's not quite ready yet to be featured in BeamNG Drive. So who knows? Maybe in, let's say, 6 or 7 years, maybe even 5 years, with how fast AI is growing, we could probably see it in BeamNG Drive. And I'm not asking it to replace all the developers' jobs. I said there could still be the handcrafted maps, but also the AI-generated maps. So guys, there you have it. That's how BeamNG Drive could be like 10 years from now. I really hope you enjoyed today's video. Now, please remember, don't say hate to the developers, telling them to all add those features. Now, all this features and stuff I mentioned in the video, all this takes time. It took the BeamNG Drive developers much trial and error to get where we are now. Anyway, guys, like I said, hope you enjoyed today's video, and make sure to please like and subscribe, because we upload new videos every single weekday.